is, people say there's gold out there. So there's gold in them mountains. And in all honesty, there really is, okay? But, you know, it's a wild world out there. There's coyotes, and we know a couple of them, right? There is some gypsies, you know, no offense to any gypsies, that real gypsies that might be on here, but there are people trying to sell you snake oil, you know? So how do you get focused, and how do you decide, you know, exactly what you're going to do to make that consistent income in your own business? Okay, so the purpose of this training is it is designed for people who are just getting started in online marketing and really need to just get that first dollar in their pocket. Okay, maybe you've been laid off. I certainly hope that is not the case. But maybe you're in the retirement age and you want something else to do to bring in additional income. Maybe you're just sick of your 9-to-5 and you went to school for one thing and you don't like what it is, or you went to school and now you're out of school and guess what? There's still no job there. So making money online is something that is realistic and that you really can do. Okay? So what you're going to get with this is a couple actionable items that you can do this month to start pulling in income and make income consistently, so that you can let go of that 9-to-5 or you can bring in that additional income that you need. So a couple of our subject points is, one, what makes most people successful online? Okay, the people who are successful, what's their mindset and what are they doing? And then we have a couple ways that beginners can start to take off and start making money right away. Working for other agencies as a freelancer, working for your own agency, as probably most of us do, and also some passive income strategies, and which are things that all of us always hear about, but really what are they, and what are a couple of the ways that people are actually creating passive income online. So myself, how I got started, just very briefly, and this is really less about me and more about a story about how a person went from not working online at all to actually we make not just our full-time income. My wife and I, we both work from the house. We have other people who work for us as well, and we make more in our own business than we ever did together working a 9-to-5 job. So when I was 13 years old, I started building websites for local businesses, and it's just it was something I was interested in, and I knew a person who knew a person, and one of my friend's moms introduced me to a business, and I built their website. And from there, and it was all raw HTML, and it was just it's a hobby as much as anything else, and I was getting paid a whole $5 per hour, which was, to me, absolutely awesome. And what did I do? I went to the guy's house, I put my software on his computer, and I built it out. Then from there, I got a referral, a little bit over here, built a website for this other guy, and, it brought in a couple bucks here and there. Well, I never took it seriously, but about 8 years ago, I have a friend who's in the mortgage business, hard money mortgage, and he said, can you get me leads off the internet? Because I don't know how, this man didn't know how to send an email. He didn't know jack about the internet, but he knew that, that was the way things were going. I said, yeah, sure, I'd give it a shot. I put up a WordPress site for him, okay? I don't even know what the software was, but it was basically like a GSA blast or a Magic Submitter blast with articles. So I blasted out articles, all with exact anchor text. And guess what, man? That guy was ranking #1 instantly. And he was getting tons of traffic, tons of visitors. He was getting tons of leads. And we had a good deal worked out there. Well, I'm sure as you can guess, things have changed radically, okay? You can't do it that way at all. But essentially, it was totally surprising. And a lot of times people fall into SEO accidentally. And it often is, those people who kind of stumble into it that, are off onto a good start because it just kind of happens, and they don't get so confused over, doing A, B, or C. So about that started right around the time that started me working for other agencies, and I worked for local agencies here in Stewart, or up in Vero, pretty close to Stuart. And I also use outsourcing websites to be the outsourcer and work for other American companies, which is an excellent way to learn the craft, learn the trade, and bring in money while you're doing it, okay, which we'll get into that there in a minute. And about 2 years ago, I started my own agency, Local SEO Services for Businesses. As you can guess, that is an exact match domain for a keyword, and that's been it. We do very well. So anyone who is seriously interested in running a business, and I mean like really running a business, not just making money online, who really is like interested in having their own business, that's like raising a child, I recommend jumping into the internet because it's amazing. And you can do things in with online marketing that you just can't do with our businesses because there's so little overhead and things that's needed. So what makes most people successful in internet marketing? And right here, you're going to notice there's nothing about keyword research on the slide. There's nothing about domains and software and hosting. This is about mindset. Because this right here is the mindset that almost everybody, regardless of how they're doing it, has. And one, they stay focused on one method of making money and get really, really good at it. Yeah, thank you, Nick. I do love for people to see my smiling face. I say, hey, that's half the benefit of the whole webinar here. So staying focused and staying focused on one specific method of making money. Now, a lot of times, and I'm guilty of this as well, we go into the shiny object syndrome where we get an email. Email says, Justin, you would not believe it. You can make $1,000 a week using this Facebook method. And I've done it, and this guy's done it, and that guy's done it. And when you buy this little software, this little training, you can do it too. I say, wow, that's awesome. That makes sense. All I got to do is get the software, put in the blah, 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 and run it, and people go to my website, and then they opt in, and I make money, right? Well, first thing, it's not always that cut and dry, and there's often a lot that's left out. But the second thing is, if you're already making money over here with maybe local marketing or AdSense, the last thing that you need, thank you, Glenn, the last thing that you need is this other thing coming out of left field, coming out of right field that says, you know, you can make money with Facebook. If you're already making money with local clients, the last thing you need is to think about Facebook at all until you are successfully making money with this one method that you've already invested your time, your money, and your thoughts into, okay? So stay focused. Don't get distracted. Focus on one way of making money. Now, the second thing is clearly defined goals. Now, that isn't always monetary goals. That might just be that by the end of the week, I want to have my website designed, okay? Or by the end of a month, I want to have 2 new clients. Or maybe they're also long-term goals, that by the end of the year, I want to have X number of dollars in revenue being generated by my business. But if you don't set those clearly defined goals, you're just shooting out into anywhere. You know, you might turn left, you might turn right, you might go with the Facebook marketing, you know, scheme. But when you have those clearly defined goals, it's a light. It is a beacon at the end of the tunnel that tells you just keep moving forward. Just keep moving forward. Now, when you have clearly defined goals, it's much easier to then remove distractions. Okay? Remove distractions. Unsubscribe from any email list that is sending you JV Zoo offers. Okay? Done. Unsubscribe from them. They do not have your best interests at heart. There are some very, very good communities. SemEasy is one of them. We really put your success as a major priority, and we never try to send you guys just things to buy. because those are just distractions. You got to remove distractions. Unsubscribe from any email list that's just trying to get you to just purchase more, okay? There are definitely tools and things, don't get me wrong, but these tools you should have the need for the tool before you know what the tool is that you are, that's there that does it, okay? Have that need beforehand before you even go out and pull your credit card out, okay? Or else it's just a distraction from that one method that you are investing your time and your money and your effort into that's going to make you money. Now, there's other things that are important, and the more that you progress in your business, and trust me, these are things that I have learned over a period of time, that everyone learns over a period of time. And these are such core business principles as the 80-20 rule. The value of automation and leverage, which a lot of people throw around. They throw around, oh, you can automate with this. You can leverage the work of others. But in reality, automation and leverage are two words that when you get really solid on them, on what they mean and how you use them, it will create the second coming of your business. Okay, the second turnaround in your business. And finally, hey Joe, is that you? I hear your microphone rubbing on some stuff.
Could be.
I knew you were there.
Okay.
I hear you.
All right, I didn't realize you'd made me a presenter. Sorry about that.
Okay, not a problem, man. So, and then finally is also the value of time. And these are just a couple of the key things. There's a fantastic book, okay, and this is, you probably have heard of this guy, Perry Marshall, okay. Perry Marshall, he is an AdSense trainer mostly, but he started to expand out his marketing into general coaching. And the 80-20 rule relates to marketing and relates to AdWords, but when you understand the 80-20 rule, which is that 80% of your results comes from only 20% of your effort, and you really understand how you can apply that, all of a sudden you realize that with 20% of the work, you're really getting 80% of all the income that's coming in, okay? And other things, 20% of your clients are giving you 80% of your problems. So all of a sudden when you focus on the 20% that brings you the 80% results, and you just do that, it exponentially increases your income and your results. When you cut off the 20% that are giving you 80% of the problems, all of a sudden you find, wow, I got a lot more. I just feel better throughout the day, and so core things like that. Now, by the way, while this is a very high-level overview, and I'm just blasting through this, okay, I am looking at questions as you have them. Feel free to throw them in there, and then whenever we get to a pause point, we'll answer questions, okay? And this is just a super high level. We're going to be going into a lot of these things in individual modules, okay? Individual modules. So, yeah, just right there with core principles, man, that right there could be like a 3-week series, okay? Now, the way that I really got started was working for other agencies and not having my own agency, okay? Now, I love the idea of working for other agencies, and now I also have a degree in digital media, which, by the way, I would not recommend anybody going to school right now to learn digital media to apply to internet marketing. The best thing I got out of it was maybe learning Photoshop, okay? But one of the things I saw was these promises to these poor students that when they graduate, they will have a job. And people will look at their resume, and they will look at their portfolio that they made in school, and they'll say, you're hired. Unfortunately, that's not the case. Okay? A lot of times, businesses are looking for not just education, but work experience. So I consider working for other agencies the school that pays you. And I tell all of these students, right? I tell all these students that go on now, jump onto some of these outsourcing agency websites and these work, like, like outsourcing websites and the freelancing websites, and start getting experience. You'll get paid for it. You'll get very, very valuable referrals, okay? And you'll get experience so that whenever you do get a steady job, if that's what you want, okay, or you do start your own agency, you know what you're doing. One of the greatest things about working for other agencies is that the agency provides you management, goals, support, and tools in addition to pay. And whenever you're on your own and you run your own agency, you realize I have, the only manager is me. So if I'm a shitty manager, I'm going to get managed shitty, right? But if I'm a good manager, I'm going to be managed, well. But whenever you're starting off, a lot of times it's difficult to go from working 9 to 5 to working, your own job and be learning new skills and be doing sales. So having that management over you is really, really good. It's very excellent. They also provide you goals because, essentially you're working for them and what they need done. So it really makes things streamlined, very clear, concise, easy to remove distractions. They provide support. A lot of times you have coworkers. Of course, you have your boss or your manager. And so you can get feedback. You can go to someone and say, hey, you know what, I can't seem to, to find this, maybe you can help me out, or you've already done it, or you're doing it over here for that client. You'll really, the support that you get working within another agency will help you streamline and cut down the bell curve, the learning curve, okay, for learning new skills. And of course, a lot of times they also provide you tools. Every time that of course I talk with other people and I get opinions, but every time I need a new tool and I'm like, you know what, I need a better rank tracking program. A lot of times I got to spend time and effort and even money just to test out several tools and find out what works well. When you're working within a higher structure of another business, a lot of times they have those things figured out, okay? Or they have someone else who are figured out, and then they provide you the tools to write content, to build the backlinks, to whatever whatever it is. Also when you think about it, they also provide you clients, okay? Because depending on how you are positioned in their agency, you might be just the SEO guy, okay? Which is actually a great position to be in. You're not going to make as much as you do have your own SEO business, but when you're like the SEO guy working for a design company, well, right there, they have a pool of clients to pull out of, and they do the selling most of the time. They say, okay, we got this new client, you're going to get X number of dollars, we get X number of dollars, go ahead and service them, right? And it gives you a lot of freedom too. And then finally, what this all leads up to is you can learn the skills working for another agency to then go off and have your own agency. Okay, as wild and crazy as that sounds, by going through working for other people, learning the ropes, you are able then to very efficiently jump on and do your own, have your own agency, have your own clients, make a lot more money. Now, I'm just saying, I can only say this from my own personal opinion, of course, and you have, I know a guy who makes a whole lot of money doing AdSense, and he doesn't do almost any other client work. There's very little client work, but this is just what I have, what has worked for me. That's what I'm recommending over to you, okay, as just a good thing if that's where you want to go, okay? Now, how to work for another agency? How do you get that position? Well, one, you can just reach out to local startups and provide assistance. Now, if you're already pretty tech savvy, you know the ropes, okay, you can very easly start to do good old resumes, good old contacts, right? Go look on Craigslist. Believe it or not, one of my first agency jobs I got off of Craigslist. And they went in there. It was a job interview. Additionally, from after that position, I went on to Odesk, and Odesk is just a great website for freelancers as well as for finding freelancers. I use them almost all the time. There's a lot of other ones like Freelancer, and I think there's like Guru.com, where you can go on and find experts. Okay, but essentially, if you want to go this way and jump on Odesk and start to find other agencies to work for, as well as clients as well, SEO clients. The key is to stand out, okay, and treat it as like you are doing a job interview, and at the same time like a sales position. You have to really pimp out your profile. You have to have real things that you can show people. I did this website, or I've worked on this project, and these are the results I got. When people can see that, they're like, awesome, let's go ahead and bring them in. Oftentimes you'll get a trial. Okay, so they'll say, here, we're going to give you this one task, and you just do the task and report back. Okay, and depending on how well you do that task, that will equal the full-time position or part-time position. Okay, and of course, follow up. After the interview, not just send emails, send a card. And let me tell you, I've definitely hired people just from getting that card after the interview. I say, well, shit, I wasn't going to hire this person, but they seem dedicated, right? That's what it's all about. Now, if you just want to jump right into this, okay, or you've already kind of learned the ropes. Once you learn the ropes, owning your own agency is by far the most profitable I can't say the most, one of the more profitable ways of making money online. And essentially, what you're doing is you're providing services for X client. Okay, which are oftentimes local businesses, maybe some nationwide businesses that have a goal, which is usually to rank well, pull in more traffic, leads, conversions, email signups. Those are the end results, and it can be extremely profitable. One of the reason why I finally decided to cut working for other agencies is because I was making $11 an hour. $11 an hour. Yeah, that was way before I was able to get my wife working at home too with me now. But at $11 an hour, shit, that might as well be working at Walmart or something. I don't know about Walmart, but at least it was above minimum wage. But eventually, I looked at it. I was like, you know what? This client is paying $500, $700 per month. I am only getting a very small percentage of it, and I'm doing all the work. So, registered an LLC. Okay, and started my own business there and got a client. Now, I'll tell you this, we'll get to systemizing in a minute. It is actually extremely easy to find clients, okay, especially if you're doing local SEO, if you're doing SEO for local businesses. The reason why I don't network anymore is because I always get clients, and I'm like, okay, well, it's just too many clients at once, really. So all you have to do is have a nice website, go out to a networking event, okay, have business cards, and there's in the mastermind group, one of our presenters the other week was a gentleman named Doug, and Doug owned a mortgage broker training business for a long time, and he talks about getting leads. And one of the things in the leads is to have business cards that have call to actions on it. Okay, so this is my business card, my wife and I, local SEO services for businesses. And when you go out there and you go networking, believe it or not, everybody needs your service. You would not believe how shitty the websites are that these local businesses have. And you could very easily make a great name for yourself just doing local-based websites, okay? And you can, which we'll get to in a minute, okay? But yeah, we'll get to the next slide actually. But there's so much need, okay, for local SEOs and digital marketing. All you have to do is go out there and network. Now, the key to network, there's a right way and a wrong way to do it. Is you don't hand out your card. I mean, yeah, you hand out your card, okay, but what you need to do is much more of this. You need to be taking other people's cards and following up with every single person individually, okay? Because essentially, once you sit down with them, for coffee, for tea, whatever. Maybe you go ahead and you take their card, do a little bit of research. Oh, let's pull up their website. I'll bring my tablet to our meeting just in case they might be interested to know that there's no other competition, or it'd be very easy to rank #1 for their keywords. Or, just how nice a website does look and how nice their website can look on a mobile phone. Okay, so you do a little bit of research, you follow up, casual meeting. A casual meeting always turns into business talk. Okay, and that's how we did it, and that's how whenever I get to systemizing the business onto a higher degree, where I'm going to continue doing it. Now, owning your own agency is a lot about systemizing. Whenever we first started out, it was me doing pretty much like everything, okay, from start to finish. And I was doing sales, I was doing the registrations, the citations, the optimization, the this, the that, and the backlink building, and all this jazz. And I was up to here. I was up to here with 4 clients, 5 clients, okay? Now, once we eventually got the clients set up and things were doing well, essentially they could just go on the back burner. And unless something really crazy happened, they would rank well, they would pull in leads, okay? And all I'd have to do is collect a check, which is a fantastic position to be in. But just 1 or 2 local clients can be a lot of work for an individual. Well, eventually I did end up being able to get my wife at home. She does a lot of the optimization, a lot of the writing, okay? I do sales, customer service, whatever else I do. I do everything else, coordination, managing, and she does a lot of the writing optimization, which is a lot of the work. It really is a ton of the work. So systemizing. What we're moving into now is documenting everything that we do, okay? And when you get to this phase, which you will eventually, as long as you're dedicated and focused on that one way of making money, you get to the level where you're like, wow, I'm just doing the same thing over and over again. And I realized that there's really only like 20% of all my work that I do is really bringing the 80% of the rank, or the 80% of the results. So then you start to systemize. You document what you do, and you're then able to have an outsourcer come in, give them documentation, and have them do it. And it really is that simple. Of course, for them, there's a learning curve, and a lot of times, just simply finding the right outsourcer it can be a journey in itself. Okay, I've had plenty of outsourcers that just were terrible. But once you really get to know how to find a good outsourcer, which we'll do a specific module on, okay, you can have a person come in that they not only can they pick up and run with your system, they are able to improve upon it. And when that happens, my God, you will a little tear of joy will just go down your face when you realize that you have someone working for you who is like on the same level as you, and maybe even a level up in some areas. and that's the key, is systemizing. The more we systemize, the easier things get. The easier we're able to service the clients, the more consistent results that we're able to get our clients. And having Jackie work for us, I have an outsourcer who works, roughly about part-time to full-time. This guy's very, very smart, does a lot of technical things, okay? So then, that works really well. A tech guy who's setting up websites, wife, writing, emailing, hey kitty, little cat here. And then I'm working with the clients, coordinating, everything else, designing, a lot of design work. Okay, so let's keep going. Now, you may say, oh man, it's so much work. God freaking cat. It's so much work to get a client, okay? It's such a pain in the ass, because that's what everybody wants you to think that it is. And it's really hard. I can't start pulling in clients until I know how to do local marketing, right? Nay. There's other ways, as you can see. Email marketing for local businesses. Now there's a forum post that I just ran into, and I came in a year ago, and this guy's like, my whole business revolves around this one thing. He goes to local restaurants with a fishbowl, okay, and he for $100 a month, he puts that fishbowl there, and he has something that's just like pop your business card, your email in, and for a chance to win, whatever. And he mostly does it with restaurants, okay? And he does that for $100 a month, and all he does is once a week he goes through, collects up the business cards, okay, puts them all in there, and then does a weekly send out for the business, okay? And that's like his business. So when I read that, I was like, wow, how simple is that? So I went out and I got a couple of those clients, and they pay $150 a month, okay? And what we have is literally a fishbowl, and it says, fill out our birthday card, or fill out our thing to join our birthday email list, get a free meal on your birthday and a chance to win, a prize every month, right? So, I collect those up, I put them in, and we do email send outs, and that's an easy $150, right? Well, now we're taking to the next level, and I realize that it takes too much time, in my opinion, to collect up all these things and put them in. So what we're doing, I've already coordinated with most of the clients, is to have a tablet that connects right into their Wi-Fi, and their waitress hands them the tablet, they put in their email information, it's added right into the MailChimp, which is what I use for them all, MailChimp service, and then they have an automated follow-up, that goes out with, email out on their birthday month, and then they get, email every week, and then, bam, I don't got anything to do besides the initial setup. And the clients are covering costs of the tablets, right? And the tablets you can get them for like $50 at Big Lots now. And it's absolutely fantastic. So imagine that. I could, it's just one way of many ways that you right now can go out and just start connecting with local businesses and, start to bring in residual money. Because most people, their monthly bills, with their families, maybe like $3,000. Even like the people as low as like $2,000. Okay, so if you're able just to do that, all you need is like a dozen clients, and at $150, you're making, near $2,000 a month right there. Okay, and that right there these days is like a full-time income, believe it or not. So next is website design. You could create a WordPress website like that, pop it up, have the content written by ineedarticles.com or whatever, or yourself, and you can sell a website to a local business, $500. Another thing is local SEO. When we first started off, we were doing SEO for $250 a month, okay? And a lot of people when they first start off, that's what they're charging. And in all reality, it takes the more confidence you get, I'll just put it that way, the more confidence you get in your abilities, in the results that you can get people, the more comfortable you are asking for higher wages for your services. So if you are more starting out, at least, if you do have some degree of success with ranking websites, you can go get a local client for $250 and rank their website, and generally it's really not that hard depending on the niche. Okay. Now, once you get really good, you charge more. Okay. Right now, our top client is at $1,500 a month. Pretty nice. We still have clients that are paying us. The majority of our clients are paying us more around like $600. Okay. Now, it's all about sales and fulfillment when you have your own agency. Now, sales is your interaction with the prospect and your customer. Okay. That's from the networking, the prospecting, the follow-up, as well as asking for referrals in the referral process. And that right there is really its own little module in your business, okay? Because it is so important. It is the intake of your customers coming into you, and what your interaction with them are. Then you have this other module, which is something totally different. It's called fulfillment. So you got sales and fulfillment. least this is how I run my business, right? Might be different, how you see it. But your sales and fulfillment is providing the agreed service. And when we first started out, when I first started off, I was doing sales and fulfillment. Okay. Now I've begun to really position it where I have fulfillment being done by people on my team. I mainly focus on the sales and parts of fulfillment. Okay. So eventually what's going to happen is we're going to totally systemize fulfillment so that we will only be focused on sales, and then we will systemize sales. Well, what happens when you have sales and fulfillment systemized? Then you're a true business owner. Then you own the business. You're not really working in the business. Okay, that's our long-term goal, and I think that's the goal of almost the majority of small SEO agencies is to move in that direction. Now, when you're doing that, put your client first. That's the only really thing that I have to say. Shit. You guys, give me a. Okay, you guys still hearing my audio? Give me a Y. I don't do ones. I go for Ys for yes. Give me a Y. Okay, great. Thank you, guys. I saw, unfortunately, Dennis lost his audio. Sorry, man. Try to jump out and jump back in, okay? So, yeah, the key with being a local agency is put your client first, okay? Do not overpromise. Don't overcharge. In my opinion, if you don't have the experience, charge according to your experience. If you're green, okay, don't go out and tell someone that you're the best. Here's what you're gonna do, and then you're like, hey guys, how do I do this now? Or I don't have any type of PBN set up, right? I don't have any type of connections. I don't have any type of accounts opened up. I don't know who to outsource to. I'm pretty much a guy who just sold a client a contract, and I have no clue what to do from there. Please don't ever do that, because it really makes other SEOs look bad, okay? And local businesses get a bad taste. It gets harder for other SEOs that want to legitimately provide it and do provide a good service, okay? And give 110% and over-deliver. I jump through hoops for my clients, and I do it just because I really just maybe I wasn't hugged enough when I was young, but I really just love to have that client like look at the report and be like, whoa, that's good. Like, wow, Justin, you're just doing a great job, And so, any chance I get, as long within reason, as long as it doesn't cost, as long as it doesn't cost, any more money, and something that we can just do pretty quick and cheap, we'll do additional pages. We'll do additional backlinks. We'll go out and, design a new header for them or a new banner, and just to give it to them for their website if their website doesn't look good enough, just to have them be like, that's great, thank you, So, and I hope that everybody who does have an agency takes that mindset in. Okay, wow. So, I might be long-winded, guys. We're getting to the end here, all right? And we're talking about passive income strategies. Yes, this is passive income strategies is like that ship on the horizon. And sometimes no matter how close you get to it, it's just out of reach. But I will tell you this, I do know a couple guys who are killing it. We're doing very, very well. Totally passive. The majority of it passive. Okay? I'll tell you one gentleman who I won't name any names, but he makes good money, and just with AdSense. Almost all of it's just with AdSense. And in fact, I know a couple guys that are at least making, between $100 and $200 a day just in AdSense. And those are sites that are set up, are running, and they don't have to mess with it anymore. And furthermore, let's see here. I know the Evergreen Sales Funnel. Before I really got into SEMeasy, I was in another mastermind group that was for product product launches, the product launch mastermind. And the product launches, there's people in there that were making on any individual product launch $30,000 in a week, $50,000 in a week, and these were not the shiny object, product launches. Okay, you have to understand that these actually had nothing to do with. Go back. These had nothing to do with internet marketing type of products and services at all. These were training courses and services provided to niches, okay, which is very much like almost like on the agency side. One of these guys, who's a very good friend of mine, still in contact, he is one of the most well-known, most popular ArchiCAD, and ArchiCAD is a CAD program for engineers, ArchiCAD training, like gurus. And if you look up ArchiCAD training, you'll find them, my man Eric. And he came up with after, he has that, and he has a training course, okay, that people who are into ArchiCAD use, and they purchase from him. He also has additional products like a template that they can use. It has like all types of 3D things already built in, and these are things that just aren't provided by the core company. Okay, so what happens is he saw the need. He started off as an actual salesman, and he saw the need, and he said, "Well, I'm going to make this training." And he is one of the most well-known ArchiCAD trainers right now. Now, furthermore, after that, he went off to create an architect marketing training system, and I was able to witness his launch, and it was so epic. He already built a list from his blog and all this, so this is after years of work. But he launched a new system and put out to his list, and had a build up with free things and all that jazz that you hear about. And man, that guy banked probably a $250,000 I'd say $250,000 in a week. Okay, that's pretty big money. That's pretty big money. Sounds pretty good. And what happened was, of course, he's being an engineer himself. He had a system set up underneath for fulfillment. So these, where people would fill out forms, and the forms would get forwarded over to outsourcers who would build sites, and then they'd have access to all the training videos that he already put up. So it was a lot of work. Don't get me wrong, it was a lot of work. But essentially, right now, he has an evergreen sales funnel set up, and he's making good money. There are several people like that. Many of them there's a couple people in the group who are just focused on pilots and providing different types of training. One guy had an Android app for training and for prepping pilots to get into their pilot school. Another guy has like a whole video series just around one very, very specific type of jet, which is like, and you have to understand that these jets, people who are buying these jets, they're spending millions on the jets. So this guy's able to charge, thousands and a couple $1,000s for his training system. But all these are evergreen, evergreen ways, and they're passive. So we're not going to get into AdSense, okay? But coming up here, and I've already talked with them, is we have the creator, the man, Andres, creator Surfshaker, who's going to be who Joe is going to be doing an interview with, okay? And you're going to be able to get an over-the-shoulder look at him creating an AdSense site with Surfshaker. So valuable. It is so valuable. I know several people, Andres included, several people who actively use Surfshaker, and they're creating good, consistent, residual passive income. Okay? And Andres, man, I have to say, I really, really like that guy. He is he does it for his family, Oh man, Craig spent a few $100 on that one-on-one training. Well, it's not going to be like personally one-on-one, okay, but it's going to be for the group. And it's and actually he just did one with Joe for another thing, and it was very, very good. So Craig, yeah, I'm sure that was very, very worth it. Yeah, he is. He's a very, very classy guy. So I really love him. And the reason why he got into and he does what he does with AdSense site is his family. Is he has a large family. He has a bunch of kids, like 4 kids or so. It's a bunch to me. I don't know. And but he wants to really spend time with his kids. So he's not out there doing agency work, which shit, you know, I'm working 10 hours a day sometimes, most of the time actually. So he's totally passive. And the tool that he created, Surfshaker, which a lot of us use, basically he created this tool just for himself, and then he made it, you know, available. He did a launch with it, and he is always constantly improving and updating the software. But he basically improves and updates the software so that he can build out more sites faster. And the AdSense site is a great way. And the tool Surfshaker is just one way to leverage and automate with tools. Okay. So we're going to get more into that, okay? Again, this is just a big general overview, okay? Okay, so final words. Here's the final slide, guys. First off is we have a forum area now open up for you to jump over into. Joe just showed me. Joe opened it up where you can go in there and comment, ask questions specifically about the trainings here, okay, that you saw, as well as like the new things that we have going on, like I hope everybody caught that Monday SEM news. If you didn't catch it, okay, it's already inside SEMeasy. Go to semeasy.com/news, okay, and you can watch it. Okay, it's awesome. So check that out. But you can go in there, comment on, you know, your thoughts on the slides and the presentation here, and we can answer questions. Okay. So final word is SEO really isn't hard. Okay. In fact, you can honestly learn how to do SEO by searching on Google. Okay. What's hard is keeping to your goals, and that's where I really see people falter. Is they get started on one track and then they switch tracks and they never complete a project. And then they do a little bit over here and then they switch tracks and they never complete a project. And people get in these cycles over and over and over again where they don't really know where they're going. They just know that there's some place that they want to be, but they don't really know where it is or how to get there. And so what happens is they just keep trying little things by little things and little things. If it's SEO, local SEO that you're doing, start doing SEO and just fucking work at it. And that right there is the whole thing of what I got to say to my success. And who would have ever thought that I'd be actually leading a webinar like this? I didn't think so. But you just start doing something and keep working at it, and you'll find that, man, some things change, man. Google changes all the time. You're going to have to keep changing. And the tools that you use today may not even be the tools you use tomorrow. Okay, but just start to get into it. Work hard on one very specific goal, and make a plan and position yourself for your strengths, and keep at it until you achieve it, or you die trying. Okay, and I mean that. You really have to have that push that you are going to get what you want, and if you don't, well, you're going to just end up just passing away, right, while you're doing it. It's crazy as it sounds, that's just my mindset. And also on that, position yourself with your strengths. Now, when I first started out, it was just me in the business, and that was it. Got our first clients, and I was doing everything start to finish. Well, I looked at, what do I have the most trouble with? And that was writing, okay? And what takes the most time, what's that 20% that takes the most time for me, was writing. So I said, I want to position myself in the business for my strengths, which is sales, service, okay, the management to a larger extent, and then what does that not include? So I position myself now, and it's taken a while, but I've achieved that position. And when you decide what you want your position to be in your business, it may just take some time, but you'll get there, okay? And then, then you can use other services. Like I always recommend I need articles for writing. I have an in-house writer who's my wife. She's absolutely fantastic. She writes better than I could ever hope to write. And that is her strength. So it's just a really good position. But if that's the case, hire someone else out. Hire someone from India. Hire someone off of Odesk for $7 an hour to do your on-page optimization, who of course is English, right? But either way, position yourself for your strengths because it will make just running your business much easier. All right. So it is 3:02, guys. Let's have some questions. Okay, there's no questions.
Hey, Justin.
Any questions? Joe.
Let me just weigh in 1 second. It's funny how things jump out at you in the course of a webinar. That was excellent, by the way. But when you held up that 80/20 book by Perry Marshall, I just grinned because for those of you who aren't familiar with Perry Marshall or have not read that book, 5 minutes after you get finished with this webinar, own that book. It's available on Kindle. You don't even have to have the hard copy. That book will change your life, bro. I'm telling you right now, it is amazing stuff through and through.
Right on, man. It is. Get this book, and then honestly, in the first chapter, in the first couple chapters, even if you know about 80/20, the way that he presents it and how you can use it.
I think we all know 80/20 in some sense because we're old enough that people have talked about it before, but the way he applies it to a work environment and how you continually, that 80/20 is not just a one-time thing. 80/20 is a process of continual refinement where you weed out the 80, then you weed out the 80 of the 20 that remains, then you weed out the 80 of that 20 that remains from the previous 20. And before you know it, you're absolutely crushing it at a fraction of the hours you used to spend on all the crap before. Guys, I'm telling you, it's just uber powerful stuff, and it's not hard to understand either. You'll be fascinated to read it. Yeah, Perry Marshall, 80/20 Sales and Marketing. I got a Kindle copy, I think it was last summer, from Amazon. But guys, it's just amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I didn't mean to sidetrack you, but I wanted to.
That's really good. I'm glad that you focused on that. Yeah. There's any other books that come off. This right here was another book that it's a little book. Okay. This right here changed my business and how I hire people, and the approach that I took to hiring people. This is another good book, and there's like 3 of them at the used bookstore down the road, so you can probably find it locally or just get off of Amazon. Okay, Lincoln on Leadership, and I don't know if you're familiar with it, but Lincoln, whenever the Civil War broke out, a lot of people were very hesitant at first to attack. Okay, because of course it was their own country, and this is all kinds of crazy shit going on. The South was pushing north, and the North was like, whoa, what's going on? Well, Lincoln had to go through a lot of generals to find the general who, what was the general? What's his name?
He found a lot of duds along the way, I can tell you that. Meade and just tons of them were duds.
Mm-hmm. His grant. Yeah, find your grant. Keep searching until you find your grant. You're absolutely right. And when you hire people, it's a lot like that. It is. You'll find a lot of duds.
Yeah, outsourcing has been a lot like that too. As I've looked for people, most of my current staff and most of the people that I've picked up along the way are in the Philippines. And what I've gone through is not necessarily a lot of people that didn't want to work or didn't care, but they were too, sometimes culturally they're too hesitant to admit that they don't understand things because I guess there's like a whole approval vibe that happens in other cultures that some Americans don't get. You've got to be really careful to find the right fit. But you keep pushing, and when you do find somebody, I think you alluded to it earlier, you just reward them really well. You treat them like $1 million, whether it be, giving them a gift, an extra gift on their birthday, or just go out of your way to let them know that you appreciate what they do, because in the scheme of things, they make so much less than what we're used to making. So a gift to them means a lot and can cost us very little.
Yeah, you're absolutely right on that. Yeah. And when you do find that person, like Paresh was that first person for me, and I've had him working for me for a while, for over a year, and yeah, man, some days I just gotta thank God that he's on my team,
Yeah. Yeah, I've got one like that. It's taken a while, but I've got her to the point now where she's actually able to supervise others. And you talk about a real step forward when you can have 4 people on a team, and one of those 4 can supervise the other 3, so that you don't have to have direct contact with all 4. Man, you begin to really leverage your time in a way that's incredibly special.
Nice. Yeah, that's cool.
Take care, Glenn. Have a good day.
Yes, thanks, Glenn. All right. Well, that looks like all the questions. Joe, what do we got coming up here for next week?
Oh, okay. Yeah,
and,
let me tell
cool
you
stuff coming
about
up.
that. I sat down over the last couple of days and I've been making my notes. Some things are coming along. Next week, I'm going to talk about on-page SEO primarily. I'm sure I'll hit on some other things, but I want to talk about on-page as it applies to WordPress, and I guess derivatively HTML, although I never work in HTML myself. I know just enough to be dangerous, but I do know a fair amount about on-page, and I've got I'll tell you something that I'm really good about, and I know it sounds obnoxious to toot your horn, but I can rank a YouTube video like nobody's business, and so I'm going to spend some time on how on-page affects YouTube videos. I'm going to show you a tool that I use all the time called TubeRankJeet, and you can read up on it in between now and then. I use all the time to snag good titles, good descriptions, good tags for my YouTube videos, because there's a real symbiosis between what you do. Yeah, Pareto, that's right, Michael. There's a real symbiosis between what you do with on-page for your website and what you're doing with YouTube. They work hand in hand. We'll talk a lot about that. And I'm going to work with Andres to get that interview scheduled real soon. He just did one with me for another group, and it was 2 hours and 8 minutes of just incredible stuff. He walked us through a lot of his thought process and his methodology, and then he sat down and did a build for all the people, which I think you've seen, Justin, and it was, it's just incredible. The guy kills it, and
I learned a lot from that. I've been using SurfShaker for a while, man, and I learned a lot.
Yeah, and I know how exacting you are, because I've seen your, I've seen the document that you use for your outsourcers about how to do SurfShaker.
Yeah, man, it's amazing, and he's so streamlined. I totally am cutting out whole portions of that document now.
Tell me about when he dropped that bomb about not even spinning the text. He just goes out and grabs stuff that looks good and throws it on his. I'm like, yeah, are you serious? Anyway, guys, it's going to be exciting. So I hope I do a really good job for you next Wednesday on the regular call with on-page SEO. Please don't miss it. If you've got any questions about whether or not you can do it better, and if you are really good at it, by all means, send me a message and give me your input and your ideas, and I'll build them into the presentation, or maybe have you on for a part of it so that we can talk about how you do it effectively. And then Andres, soon. I'll have him on soon. So anyway, good job, Justin. Sorry to interrupt.
Thank you. We got a quick question from Tim, and then we'll wrap up. Okay. If you have very little time to work on SEO, such as a student or you work at a full-time job, would you rather do passive SEO or client-based SEO? Which I'll weigh in, Joe, and then you can jump on there. Basically, I would say that if you're working full time, I would probably say that passive income would be good, such as AdSense sites. But it depends on your schedule. AdSense sites, a lot of times, it takes a lot of sites. Okay, it takes a lot of doing till it builds up. It's like a build up. Okay, well, client SEO, you sell a contract for $250 a month. That's $250 a month right away. It really does depend on how much time you do, but if you're like totally strapped for time, what I would say is maybe go with something passive until you start to lower your hours at your work or something along those lines. Or freelancing is good because you can work around your schedule, and that's usually going to start bringing some money right away. What do you think, Joe?
Yeah, I don't think I could have described it much better. I do know that if you see yourself doing passive SEO, and I'm thinking of AdSense and affiliate offers and things like that sit on websites, don't wait any longer than you have to get it done. But what Justin said that makes a ton of sense to me, and I think you need to appreciate, is that building these sites, they can take some time because you really do need a bunch of them to build up a meaningful income. At least that's been my experience. And there's nothing quite like the value of learning how to sell a client on what you do. It sort of crystallizes for you what you do and your approach. And if you can hit it with some confidence because you've ranked a site before or done something valuable for either yourself or a family member, not necessarily a client, and you can get that across to a prospect, you'll land business really quickly, and 2 or 3 of those are manageable within a student's schedule or something like that, and they'll still make you a fair amount of money with which you can begin to invest in tools and some of the other things that you'll need to do the passive side of things.
Mm-hmm. There's another position, too, which I meant to bring up in having an agency, and this is something that I've always thought about having but never really did, which is basically just being the salesman. If you're just selling the service and having fulfillment done by a whole nother agency.
Yes, I know someone who does that in Florida. There's an agency, a guy I guess left the States, went over to the Philippines and set up an agency over there, and basically they wholesale what they do to U.S.-based SEOs. So, I don't know what the percentage that each gets, but that's what they do. They sell it at a discount, based on the fact that the Filipino labor rates are lower, and then that allows U.S.-based SEOs to just really, they're not even SEOs at some point. They basically become a sales team for that Filipino entity.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah,
that's always that's an idea right there. If you don't have a lot of time and you know a good service or another person that can do fulfillment, then team up with them, and if you can pull in clients and they can take care of it, then you're in a great position.
I think what's really exciting about this business, and I hope we communicate it to all the people, is that you don't have to be both a salesperson and a technician. When I say technician, I mean somebody in the trenches doing SEO. You can pick one or the other too if you wanted, and there are plenty of opportunities to team up with people who have complementary strengths. I just think, for me, I'm old. Let's face it, I'm a lot older than most of you folks, and I learned sales early on because of other career paths, and that has benefited me like you can't even believe. As I moved into SEO, I can almost sell without selling now, just because I play, I guess, the role of the grouchy old know-it-all in a lot of cases, and people just start writing checks because everybody believes in a know-it-all. But there's so many advantages to learning how to sell and how to connect with people.
It's true. That is true. All right. Well, it looks like all the questions. Yep. Thank you, Tim. And that's going to be it. So we do have it recorded, right, Joe?
Yep, we got it recorded.
Oh, thank God, because I totally forgot to hit record.
Got it. I think I started a couple minutes in because your computer crashed and I had to log off and all that kind of stuff. But we got a good chunk of it.
Yes, awesome. Thank you so much. So you guys will see this up as really fast, like today or tomorrow, right? Yeah. So and then stay tuned. We got a lot more stuff coming up next week. We got. Joe? Are you doing the interview this week or not?
It won't be this week because Andres and I haven't even talked about getting our schedules matched up. Maybe I'm going to try for Tuesday of next week, but I just didn't want to say conclusively because, Andres has got kids and a schedule and all that kind of stuff. I'll work it out with him, though. We'll get it communicated out in plenty of time.
Cool. So next week, we got Monday, the 7 News Show with me. We got possibly on Tuesday or maybe Friday, Joe's leading the interview and training with Andres, and then we're going to have coming up on that Wednesday, another training with Joe doing on-page optimization.
That's right.
All right, cool. Looking forward to it.
Get after it this week, guys. Go make some money.
Mm-hmm. Take it easy.